And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue Zerg player representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Here we go. As we are settling into our first game here, settling into game number 1. So far, again, I'm very excited to be jumping into this series. SKillous has been popping off. Skills, he has been insane recently. He has been looking out of this world. Oh, hold on. Un momento, papi, un momento. I do apologize for the abrupt end to the stream. I did have to turn on the delay, and now we can jump on into our first match of the night. Again, the bracket is live, the bracket is stacked. We have our first 2 amazing players here before us. We have our Red Protoss in Skills, we have our blue Zerg player in Rogue. For now, it is going to be a Hatching Gas Wolves there out of Rogue. Likewise, Skills going for his own gate expand as well. And again, Skills has been on fire as of late. He has been looking very strong, has been looking very good, especially when it came to the Masters Coliseum qualifiers. We saw Skills take down both Rogue and Solar to qualify for the main event. Again, Skills has been on fire specifically in this matchup, and I'm curious to see what he does bring to the table here against Rogue. Because for now, we do have the Adept shading in towards that third base. Ooh, shaving off some lings. So far, so good. Likewise, across the map, a couple of lings do slip into the middle line here to scout to get a read on what is going on. We'll get a read on what's going on. Likewise, lings slipping in towards the main. And they do confirm, they do scout. They don't quite get any workers. As control out of Skills, he does pull away in time. But we do have our Stargate here. Oracle's on the way. And again, that is scouted and confirmed by Rogue. Does scout, does confirm. So from here, Rogue, he will head out. He will pull back. He will pull back. Now we can settle into our opener. Again, Rogue is yet to really take it in any specific direction, just saturating his bases, getting his queens in position to defend against the Oracle. Again, he did already scout the Oracle moving out across the map, and he's getting ready. We have 2 queens here in the main, likewise 2 queens over at the third base location. Oracle dips in and should not get much done. Likewise, Skills taking his third base behind this. Third is on the way. Skillless heads towards the natural, gets a couple of larva, gets some larva, denies the spore, gets a kill on the spore as well. Not bad. Kills the spore, pulls out. Nice damage behind this, going for a Twilight Council as the expansion is halfway done. And from here, I would imagine we're going to be working towards, I was going to say +1 and Blink, but there is no Forge. Yeah, there is a delayed Forge here from Skillless. With this, you can go for something a little bit more tech-heavy instead. He can go for something more aggressive. My eyes are going to be on either Charge or, either Glaives or Blink. Ooh, later Forge. Should be seeing Blink here from the side of Skillless. Again, with this timed Twilight Council, with this earlier Blink, he can actually defend against all Lins in time. Blink should be done well enough in time for any kind of Roach aggression to get across the map towards that third base. There it is, Blink is on the way. So earlier Blink out of Skillless, meanwhile moving out with 5 Adepts. Does move out across the map, making his way towards the main base. Likewise, Rogue going for his lair and taking into Roaches. So nothing wild here out of Rogue. Just taking up, going for safety Roaches. For now, defending with purely Lings. And Skills does make his way across the map. So far, the Queens are keeping up. The Queens are holding their own. Zoning Skills back. They zone him away from the time being. From here, Skillless, he is still struggling to find any more damage. He's gaining map control at least. He hasn't lost any of his oracles. Is going to be forcing Rogue back. And is just gearing up here for his next step for the next wave, which is going to hit with Blink. As Blink is almost done, it's getting there. Likewise, Rogue still just focusing on taking up and expanding, getting his 4th base. We have our further tech. It is going to be a Hydra Den here out of Rogue. So going Roach Hydra for the time being. And again, just a much more passive setup here from Rogue. Sure, he's going for a big link counterattack, but there are plenty of adepts in position. Oracles, they do hit the third. 3 drone kills, they back off. Nice damage. Likewise, Lings inside the map, they do get scouted. Do get spotted here by Skillless. Makes his way towards the third base. Tries to make his way in, takes down the pylon, heads into the middle line, but again, a depth trade position of these things, they're not really achieving too much. Sure, they get a pylon, but not much more than that. So far, SKillous, he is keeping up. Likewise, Revelation in the main. You see Rogue, he's drawn up to 3 base saturation, 67 workers here from the side of Rogue. He's up to 3 bases, and from here, he is massing up roaches, hydras as well, and this 4th base may just be for larva. Yeah, it's just gonna be for larva here. Rogue is building up and will soon move out with a +1 timing with Hydra Speed. Hydra Speed is on the way. So a very aggressive setup here from Rogue. SKillous, meanwhile, he needs time. He needs time for Storm, time for Charge. Speaking of High Templar, ooh, they will survive, thankfully. But again, SKillous, he has to apply some pressure here with this army to slow down the forces of Rogue. But Rogue is coming in from behind. It comes in for a flank. Stutter steps forward, takes out 2 of their Stalkers. Nicely done. Almost a third. And SKillous getting called out. Has to pull back, has to pull away. Yeah, forced to recall, and here comes the all-in. I say all-in, I mean, on the one hand, Rogue is committed because there's no saturation, but he is taking up into an infestation bit. Is throwing down further tech, just in case. So Rogue is thinking a little bit further ahead. Likewise, rotating over. Mortal has arrived. Storm's going to be coming in. It's going to be 4 High Templar, each with 1 Storm. Oh! High Templar have to back up. Oh no! They're exposed. 1 High Templar goes down. 2 High Templar. And 3 as well. And with that, what was once 4 Storms down to 1. 1 Storm left. Ay, ay, ay. The Storm is decent, but again, there could have been so much more here. Yeah, SKillous, he gets caught out. Rogue pushing forward. Another Storm comes in. And the natural base is being broken. Cybercore goes down. Rogue is pushing in. He's trying to go for the kill. Again, there is a bit of Nitrosis Pylon. Pylon is going to get targeted down. Immortal does pop out. And Rogue has not done any economic damage. Bear that in mind. No probes gone down yet. Threads the main army. Rotate over. Towards that 4th. Going for the expansion. Likewise, we'll bring it down. I will attempt to. That snaps on the Immortal. SKillous falling back. Does fall back. Expansion falls as well. Yeah, SKillous losing his 4th. So at least the 4th base does fall, and now Rogue can drone. He can drone from here, he can now saturate his bases. Now he's droning up. He was committed and he did enough damage. Was able to do enough damage, and now there's just no splash damage. There's nothing left to work with. Rogue, he's trading against SKillous, pushing in once again towards the main. The Storm's popping up. Another High Templar goes down. And Rogue, he busts into the main base. Will be cleaned up by the Zealots, but the damage has been done. Back at home, he's spreading creeps, saturating bases, getting up to 80 workers, taking up into lurkers. Hive is already done, and the lurkers are coming. So on the one hand, sure, SKillous is taking into Sky Tools. We have a fleet beacon on the way, and soon to be Mothership and attempted Tempest production. The problem is that Rogue, he's already there. He's already at that next step. As the lunkers, they're morphing in, and this is designed to kill. As Rogue has momentum. And the SKillous still trying to build up. Again, it was so close. It was so close to being ready. Aye, aye, aye. So close, man. SKillous is going to rotate over. CG up on the low ground. Oh, he just shuts down the Gateway Army. Storms, they will help. They will zone somewhat, but the lurkers, they stand the ground. They don't even care. Massive Spaniels going off. High Templar going down. The army crumbles. And Rogue, he's breaking through. Is breaking through, takes out all the Archons. 2 High Templar survive. GG gets called, and Rogue takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Rogue will take a lead in the series, and we'll take the first game. Again, a very, very intense game 1 there. It had a pretty slow start, is what I will say. It did have a bit of a slower start, gearing up into it. Gearing into game 1, and we saw that SKillous was able to get a little bit of freedom at least. He was trying to be active with those Stalkers, got less than what he was hoping for, and unfortunately, he was barely not ready in time. If you remember, Storm finished just as his 3 High Templar got sniped. Like, it was so brutal seeing those 3 High Templar in front of the army. Rogue, he saw the opportunity, started to step forward with the Roaches. He was able to focus 3 of them down just in time. As a result, there was only 1 Storm, technically 2, because there was the energy overcharge as well that came into play. But alas, with 2 storms, that was not enough for SKillous to hold, and Rogue won the game then and there. I mean, he crippled his opponent then and there, and then snowballed into the win. It was also really cool to see that Rogue, despite cutting workers at 66, despite not saturating the 4th base, he did throw down the infestation pit behind the attack, which is what led into the faster hive and faster lurker tech. You know, again, he had that contingency plan just in case he didn't outright kill SKillous, and he didn't kill him. It was the follow-up that really did. So nice 1-2 punch there by Rogue. With that, does take a lead in the series, and so far is getting his revenge, but we'll see if he can close it out, or if SKillous will bounce back. As we're getting into Game 2, as a reminder, when it comes to the format of the tournament, it is loser's pick. It is going to be loser's pick here, and SKillous, he has gone for Amygdala. Let's go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Amygdala, we have the red Protoss player for Team Liquid. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. It is SKillous. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. 1 game away from advancing on from this series into the next round. One of Masters, all he does need. Again, I do apologize if I did seem a little bit distracted in that last game. Just had to restart the stream, had to add a delay, did forget to add a delay at the start, so my apologies. That is also why the beginning of the game was a little bit cut off, so I do apologize for that, but should be smooth sailings from here on forward after the bit of an abrupt start to the stream. It's all good. We can settle it. And again, welcome one and all to the channel on Chijik. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you all. Good to see you, Papi. Good to see you. So jumping into that ZvP. Again, we'll be getting into the brackets after this match. There's a lot to get into. There are so many matches happening at once. There's so much to really indulge in. We'll get there. We'll get there, Papi. We'll get there. Don't you worry. Until then, Hatch Gas Pool, standard opener here out of Rogue. When it comes to Amygdala, the map itself, we are loading into a bit of a larger map in a sense, smaller than Frostline, don't get me wrong, but the rush distance by ground is longer than that of Ley Lines, for example, than that of Whispers of Gold. At the same time, though, these 3rd and 4th bases are much more exposed, much more difficult to defend. So we'll see how SKillous adjusts. As a reminder, last game did go for earlier Blink. He was trying to be active with his Blink Stalkers, if you remember, but he got caught out. So Rogue, he was very well set up with this round, as he was already committed into his Roach Hydra army. Was able to catch SKillous out. But again, I'm sure SKillous has something else up his sleeve. I am sure. So now Link Speed is on the way. Rogue pulling out of gas, getting his natural up and running. We have a handful of Lings on the way to help zone away that probe, to expand, take the 3rd base, and to gain some map control. Last game we saw Rogue attempt to get across the map, and he was able to get a free scout with those Lings. We'll see if we can do so again. And we'll see if we can find any probe kills as well. As Lings are moving out, they avoid the Adept. Headed towards that natural. So far, so good. We'll be able to slip in. I say that this time. Ooh, we are in position. We do fully wall off. You don't often see that. No. We attempt to end. We do actually. Ling is denied. SKillous, he will keep his build hidden. He will make sure these Lings do not disturb him. I say that one Ling does survive. Does successfully avoid the gaze of that Adept. But there's a backup Adept here in position. Likewise, Stargate opener into Oracle. Rogue is not entirely certain as to what's going on. There's a little bit of ambiguity here as to the opener for SKillous. As he gets across the map, takes down a tumor, threatens a shade. Does threaten the shade as he's going to be cornered, and I didn't realize there was a little alcove here that you can make use of. Okay, I mean the Adept is going to go down. Oh, never mind, I spoke too soon. Oracle comes in, saves the Adept. Let's go. Barely does save it, but yeah, there's like a little nook there that you can actually hold position at, so yeah, the more you know. Didn't realize. Nicely done there by SKillous. Meanwhile, taking his 3rd base, expanding towards his opponent, towards the 3rd of Rogue. And do you see what I see? I see an even faster Twilight Council. Okay, Now with this faster Twilight Council, this could be one of two things. This could either be fast Glaive Adepts or fast Blink, even faster than last game. Which will lead into aggression nonetheless. So we'll see what it's going to be. Both have their place. If Rogue were to skip Roaches and go into Ling Hydra, then he would be vulnerable to Adepts. Meanwhile, if he went into Roaches, then he'd be more vulnerable against Stalkers instead. There it is! Glaives are on the way. It's going to be Glaive Adepts here from SKillous. Now, this is not an all-in, but this is a way to, as I mentioned, catch the Zerg player cutting corners. If Rogue skips the Baneliness, and if he skips the Roach Warren, if he goes purely Ling Queen into Lair, into Hydra, then he is going to be vulnerable to Glaive Adepts. And so far, that's what I'm seeing. So far, Lair is on the way. I don't see a Roach Warren yet. I don't see any further tech for the time being. So Rogue is vulnerable. Adepts, they get in, they get surrounded. One Adept goes down, the other two do recall. And every Adept does matter here. It does count. You want to build them up over time. You want to preserve them. And then snowball from here. Everyone's going to be hunted down. As the NG overcharge on the Oracle. Adepts are amassing. Typically, this does transition into Pulton and Blink. That's why we have the Forge, and behind this into Blink Stalkers. This is going to be quite committed here from SKillous, and as he's going to be moving out, we have Rogue getting ready for his own. Okay, I was going to say counterattack, but no. Does have a control of the Zonaga. Surrounds the Adept. Oh, and SKillous is going to have to show his hand. He doesn't want to, but he has to. And Rogue will confirm. He gets eyes on all the Adepts. He knows Roach Warren is still on the way. It's not done. And this was a 5-minute Roach Warren. Adepts are shading in, clearing up a lot of creep, and this is just buying time for Rogue to be ready to prepare. 16 Lings on the way. Overlord Speed will tells us a German taxi follow-up here. Okay. Adepts, they commit. Nice positioning. They should shut down all the Lings, but the Queens, there's so many Queens! Yeah, the Queens will clean up. Lings, they still hold their own. Oh my god, all the Adepts do fall. They shade across. We do actually bust in towards the natural, but only 2 Adepts. Only 2 Adepts. Rogue, he will shut this down. He will defend. Roaches have come out just in time, and now Rogue is getting ready for his counterattack. And what a counterattack as well. So quick to respond with Overlord Speed, with Pneumatized Carapace. And here come the Dropper Lords. Again, Dropper Lords for the Queens. Roaches and Lings are amassing. It's going to be a German taxi. Let's go. I'm going to be moving out. Meanwhile, 4th base is killed. Oh, not cancelled. Okay, SKillous is getting some damage. But back at home, is he ready for this? He's going to have 1 shield battery, a handful of Stalkers. I mean, I say a handful, he will have, what, up to 8 Stalkers. That's a decent amount, but here comes the push. Here comes the counterattack. SKillous is up in Workers, up in Economy, he just has to buy time. Thankfully, he's moving out with his Stalkers. He needs to shave off some of those Lings, some of those Roaches. And he does spot the army. Now he knows. He knows what's coming his way. Rogue dives in, takes a stace to the face. And good start for SKillous. Does take a stasis, falling back. Shield batteries are done. We have 3 shield batteries behind this. Oh my god, that's a lot of shield batteries on the way. The Wiles. Ooh, they graze the army. They take down one of the Stalkers. They take down 2. And that's target firing here out of Rogue. Pushing forward within the mineral line. Stasis runs out. Ooh, Wiles connect. But so far, SKillous, he's holding on. He's barely holding on. More shield batteries are finishing up. Likewise, nice kiting here, nice blinks. The Wiles, oh, they connect. They crash into the Stalkers once again as well. Oracles are going to try to support. It looks like they might just be too much Zerg. Another Warp In is coming in. SKillous trying to hold on, falling further back behind the mineral line. Probes are falling. Roaches are having a hard time pushing in. SimCity is working quite awkward here for Rogue. Having a hard time pushing. Wiles, they don't quite connect. SKillous. Is he barely holding on? He's trying to. Wiles, they deny the stasis trap. Oh, more reinforcements on the way. Yeah, Rogue, he's so close to breaking SKillous. 20 Lings in production. They are coming. And SKillous just needs to buy a little bit more time. The shield batteries are all out of energy. And there are so many of them. There's what, 8 shield batteries? And now they're starting to go down. Ravager's morphing in. I mean, it was a valiant effort here by SKillous, but the reality is that the Adepts need to get more done. They needed to trade better and get more workers or trade more efficiently against the Lings. It was a brutal shade. And it looks like Rogue has finally done it. He has finally broken the back of SKillous. Clouds are connecting, probes are going down. And SKillous is down to a handful of Stalkers. He's lost control of the third. The Nexus itself can fall. And GG gets called. Rogue will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the next round. GG. GG, well played. A very aggressive Rogue here, both in game 1 and in game 2. Of course, we did see that SKillous did go for something more aggressive here in game 2. Unfortunately, it was lackluster. Unfortunately, when he came into the shade, he got surrounded and he got completely shut down. At first, I thought, oh, you know, he's nicely tucked behind the mineral line. He's going to be safe. But no, the Lings, they got a very nice surround on him, and they did overwhelm. GG, well played. And with that... we do have Rogue advancing on into the next round. And the question becomes, who's up next? Who is up next here? I'm not even sure myself, as we are getting ready for our next series. We're getting ready for our next match. Shout out to, of course, Cranky and Maddox. They are covering their own side of the brackets. And I believe they are jumping into... I believe they're covering Ryung versus Clem. And they're getting into game number 2. But we have to find our own series. Otherwise, we could try to follow them and jump in. There's a lot of matches going on, and I guess we can take a moment to have a look at the brackets. I just don't want to be left behind. Don't want to be left behind, but